Oh, excuse me. Welcome back to Gotta Love Them Movies, your place to talk about the stuff that you love. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown. I'm here all the time, and my apologies. I had food falling out of my mouth. I was quickly trying to eat my lunch before the show started. I kind of made it, but I also kind of didn't. Epic fail to me. Woohoo! I got my Incredible Hulk juice. Incredible Hulk juice. You guys, today is a wonderful day. Today is an absolutely wonderful day as I have quinoa stuck in my teeth. And I'm spitting it all over my computer. You're welcome, Internet. You guys, today's an absolutely wonderful day. Beautiful day outside. It's a little warm. We had a crazy lightning storm last night. I probably should have had this picture ready to go, but there's this incredible photo of the Empire State Building and the World Trade Center. This was last night. This was literally last night. World Trade Center, Empire State Building, getting struck by lightning simultaneously at the same time. It's epic. It's absolutely epic. It's like Thor, the god of thunder, is just right on the city of New York. Anyway, speaking of New York, you guys, we have a former New Yorker in our midst. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Michael G.
Heyo.
Woo woo.
I miss New York.
Dude,
I miss you, Mike.
I miss you. How are you, my friend?
I'm not dead yet.
As your Twitch channel can attest.
Yeah, no, things are going pretty well. Enjoying the summer. You know, the whole quarantine, COVID, everything. I kind of practiced for that before it hit, so I was doing pretty good. I should have wrote a book. How to quarantine and not go crazy.
Dude, so can we talk about what state you're living in now? You're not in New York anymore.
No, because, you know, when you experience the New York life, the city, the extravaganza, everything awesome, then you have a midlife crisis and move to Utah.
So we can say that you're living in Utah.
I'll say Utah, yes. Not where in Utah, just Utah.
Yeah, you live in Utah. That's fine. Amongst the mountains. You have, Mike, you and I have been friends for quite a long time now at this point. We used to go to cons. We used to go to New York Comic-Con together every year, and then you moved to Utah, and then we'd go to Salt Lake Comic-Con every year together.
Fan X, come on, Mike. Remember.
Oh, yeah, they got sued over that, didn't they?
So stupid.
Fan X, the Fan X experience. That's true. COVID has put the kibosh to all of our con going, but just in a very similar fashion, you have started your own Twitch stream where you live stream gaming. You want to talk about that for a sec?
So yeah, over at twitch.tv/I'm not dead yet. Stream there every day from 2:30 to about 4:30 Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Yeah, just play variety of games, having some fun. But at the same time, it's just a good place to chill, hang out, talk about whatever. Yeah, it's just a good environment. And if you like mediocre gameplay of a guy who's paralyzed and can't aim with a mouse, come and watch. It can be fun.
That's what I love about you. The environments that you create around yourself are just very positive and uplifting, and just like everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter who you are. You're just that kind of person.
Exactly. And what's great, everyone has something going on. So sometimes it's just nice to go to a place where you can talk, you know, some anonymity, and just talk. And it's like, you know, I've had a crappy day. It's like, okay, tell me about it. And then just be able to get that off your chest and be welcoming and just have that environment can be so nice, especially with everything going on in the world today. It's just, yeah, and relaxing and just have fun. Because that's what it's about.
That's exactly what it's about. Just accepting everybody for who they are and just having fun. Just live life. You guys, before we jump into the main portion of the show, which if you're just joining us for the first time, what we do is we break it down. We have a whole bunch of different emails or like news topics or surrounding like movies and movie news come out. We're going to talk about those and address them all individually. And then the second half of the show is that you guys have been commenting on this video. We're going to jump into the comments section and just talk about what you guys want to talk about. Maybe you're talking about what we're talking about, but maybe we're going to talk about what you want to talk about. Before we jump in and do that real quick, one of our longtime watchers of the show, the Nerd Zone, who lives out in the UK, not exactly sure where in the UK, but Nerd Zone was interviewed on a kind of like a YouTube type show. I just want to bring that up for you guys real quick and share with you because it's really cool. It's really, really cool. So Nerd Zone in this particular video is playing under the VR avatar Waluigi in this particular video as put out by Siremore. And I sure hope that I'm saying that correctly. Siremore. Siremore does this really cool thing where he interviews just people on the internet in virtual reality chat rooms. And here, Nerd Zone got to be interviewed specifically talking about his disability with cerebral palsy. And it's very uplifting. It's very informational. And it's just really cool. I mean, like, take like the specificity of cerebral palsy or being a person with a disability out of it. It's just really cool to hear Nerd Zone just talking about his life and experiences and his friends. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Nerd Zone, but is that not your cousin in the background who's the Garfield avatar? Yeah, the video is like 12 minutes long. It's really cool. And like, here's another really cool thing about this particular thing. About this video that Nerd Zone sent me. You interact with people on the internet from time to time, and sometimes they become... I'm not trying to put you in a category here, Nerd Zone. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you encounter people on the internet, and it's hard to have, like, a personal relationship with these people, right? You can't see their faces, you can't hear their voices, and while I still can't see your face, because you're Waluigi, I can at least hear your voice and hear your tone and your vocal inflections, and I get to hear you care about the things that you care about, and talking about video games and movies and just your life, like dating instances that you talk about in this video. It's really cool. You guys check it out. Go over, definitely subscribe to Siremore. Check out this video, British Waluigi in VR talks about cerebral palsy. It's a really cool video. Yeah, so definitely check that out. It definitely brightened my day, and I hope that it brightens your days as well. All right, you guys, so with all that down and out of the way, first, I need to tell you how to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and click that red rectangle in the upper right-hand corner that says subscribe. With the more subscribers the channel gets, the more watched content the channel gets. With more watched content, hopefully I get to make this show my full-time job. So I really appreciate your love and support there. You guys, if you have anything that you want to talk about, if there's a particular subject that you think that I've missed, that I haven't covered yet, there's anything that you want to bring to my attention, send me an email at gottalovethemmovies@gmail.com. And as long as your question or comment is family friendly, we'll make it a main topic here on the show. All right, with all of that down and out of the way, let's jump in and take a little bit of movie news.
What?
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 All right, you guys, as promised, let's jump in, take a little bit of movie news. And our first bit of movie news today, so you may have heard, we talked about this fairly recently in that there's an upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie. Well, news just broke today that it is confirmed Idris Elba will be voicing Knuckles in the upcoming Sonic 2 movie. In some ways, this kind of comes as a surprise, but also it kind of doesn't come as a surprise. When I hear that Idris Elba is voicing Knuckles, there's a part of me that's like, really? Idris Elba is going to be in a Sonic the Hedgehog movie? I mean, the first Sonic movie, it was okay. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. It's still not a great movie. It's still not You know, when you talk about the video game curse, it's still kind of in that realm slightly, you know, just poquito, just a little bit. But then I hear something like this. You know, not only is Sonic 2 introducing Knuckles, obviously, but it's also introducing the character of Tails. We still don't know who's voicing Tails yet. But, I mean, right here, we know Idris Elba is going to be voicing Tails. This gives, to me at least, a little bit more credence of the quality of what this story is going to be, as to maybe not what we can expect from the story, but Idris Elba's name being attached to a project has a certain street cred, if you will, to it. So, yeah, when I hear something like this, that he's going to be doing the voice for Knuckles, I get kind of excited. Mike, you have heard about this. I sent you the article earlier today. You read about this. I know you haven't seen the first Sonic movie, but just in terms of Idris Elba being attached to a film, does this hype your excitement a little bit? Do you want to see the first one because of this now? Or, like, are you just kind of, meh, whatever? Where do you stand here?
Yeah, I kind of think similar with you. It's like Idris Elba voicing Knuckles is like, oh, that's weird because you think Idris Elba, the more serious roles,
Yeah.
like Heimdall and Thor and all this other things. But then you think about it, it's like, okay, he had voices in Zootopia. He had voices or voiced in Finding Dory. So it's like, okay, I can get more behind this. And as Knuckles is such a prominent character in the games and the lore, having him in this role will just definitely elevate the movie even more. And then having Tails and everyone. So yeah, I can totally get behind this. And of course, that means I have to go back and watch the first movie, which I'm okay with after all that fiasco in the beginning of how Sonic looked, and they fixed that. So they care about the movies, they care about the characters.
Yeah.
They're putting the effort in, the time in, the research, getting good actors to voice. So that's going to be awesome.
Let me throw this hypothetical. Well, it's not a hypothetical because it is a reality, but we don't know who's going to be voicing Tails yet. We know that Ben Schwartz is the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, which at first I was a little... I'm not the biggest Ben Schwartz fan. Here in New York, he and I kind of run in very similar circles, and our paths have crossed a few times. And he's funny, yes, unequivocally. Objectively, he is funny. People like him. I am not the biggest Ben Schwartz fan. Aside from that, I'm a huge Idris Elba fan. Huge. So when we're talking about voice cast for Tails, immediately, David Hyde Pierce comes to mind. I don't think that he would be a good casting for Tails, but in terms of just the character, maybe it's just character design. Maybe because I was into Sonic the Hedgehog in the mid-'90s at the same time that Frasier was in its heyday, and I just love David Hyde Pierce. What kind of an actor do you think has that same kind of gravitas that can bridge the gap between a Ben Schwartz and an Idris Elba? Any thoughts? Any people come to mind?
Ooh, no specific people. But I'm just thinking, because, Idris Elba has just that deep, booming voice, that
He's
power
very
behind
commanding.
him. He's very commanding. And if I remember, Tails is more kind of funny, a little more lighthearted. So I would want an actor who has kind of a more lighter tone or softer to kind of balance that between Knuckles and Tails, and then Sonic, kind of finding that good kind of triangle almost between all three characters to kind of balance each other off. Can't think of any good names, though.
Yeah, no real hardcore top-of-the-line picks are coming to mind. But, guys, question is for you. What do you think of Idris Elba joining the cast of Sonic 2 doing the voice for Knuckles? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? Let me know down in the comment section below. In addition, who would your choice be to cast in the voice of Tails? I'm also kind of curious to hear that. Do you think David Hyde Pierce might actually be a good fit for that? He's an accomplished actor. He knows what he's doing. But he kind of has a little bit of a mousy, kind of playful feel to him. Or is he just way too old? Who would you cast as Tails? Let me know down in the comment section below. All right, guys. Our next bit of movie news today actually comes to us in the form of an email. You guys, if you want to get an email on the show, if there's anything you want to talk about in particular, send me an email at gottalovethemmovies@gmail.com. As long as your comment or question is family friendly, we can make your email a main topic here on the show. And our first email comes to us from Mr. Matthew Wiles. His topic is Blue Beetle. After the casting has been announced for a Blue Beetle film, I really love the idea of DC exploring all of its characters and not just Batman and Superman. We don't need another linked universe like Marvel. A new DC hero can be a franchise in itself. And what Matthew Wiles is talking about here is hold on, where did my tabs go? So Cobra Kai star Zolo Meridiana, I think it's Meridiana. Zolo Meridiana has been cast in the role of Blue Beetle for an upcoming Blue Beetle movie for DC and Warner Brothers and all that. Kind of takes place in I don't want to say it takes place in the same universe as like the Justice League and the Flash and Batman and all that stuff, but one of the great strengths of DC right now is that they're starting to figure out that not all of their movies, not all of their properties need to be connected in the same way that Marvel is connecting theirs. They get to have these incredible standalone films, standalone stories. Like Suicide Squad just came out, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It's not my favorite DC EU film. For me personally, I would say Wonder Woman and then Shazam, and then I would put James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. It's still great. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. But these films aren't necessarily interconnecting. They don't need to. Joker was a great film. Geez Louise, what else? They're coming out with all of the, like, Harley Quinn in the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Birds of Prey, right? I know it didn't get the best reception in the world, but I really enjoyed it. I loved the Birds of Prey movie. And to see something like this, I want to jump over to Zolo Meridiana's Twitter for a second. He posted this photo the other day officially on his Twitter account, saying, it's official. I'm beyond grateful to be able to fill in these enormous shoes as one of the first Latino superhero on the big screen. To the team at DC and on the Blue Beetle, Angel, Walter, Gareth, Galen, Zev, John, thank you so much for trusting me with this role. We're about to make an incredible movie. Also, huge congrats to Leslie on being cast as Batwoman. Let's go out and support these movies. This movie is going to be for the world. I'm a superhero. What the heck? And that comes directly from Zolo Meridiana's Twitter account. I think this is really cool. It's true. We don't have a leading Latino, Latinx, Hispanic superhero. We just don't. And I think seeing something like this is incredibly exciting. Anytime that we're able to do something outside of the box of what we have always known to be true, or maybe not known to be true, but always functioned, we can only get better storytelling. Because we have more avenues to explore, more ways to go. I think this is really cool. I'm all for this. And again, if you're not familiar with Blue Beetle has like 4 or 5 different origins. So this particular origin, it definitely looks like they're going with either Jamie Reyes or Jaime Reyes, however you pronounce it. They're definitely going with the Jaime Reyes version of the character of Blue Beetle, and how he just kind of I correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. I don't know if you're all that familiar with DC Comics and the Blue Beetle, but I believe he came into possession of like an ancient scarab that had like certain mystical powers, and there was came into possession of his brother, and he took it from his brother because these ninja warriors were trying to get it from him, and the scarab attached itself to his spine, and now he just like this kind of like Iron Man style suit kind of comes out of his spine whenever he needs it, and it's kind of like controlled in his cerebellum. But yeah, so he has kind of like the flight of power and communication and a host of different things. So especially casting Zolo Meridiana, whom we've only ever really previously seen in Cobra Kai, in the TV show Cobra Kai, knowing his humorous sensibilities. And when I say humorous sensibilities, he plays it really straight. That is a humorous television show because it knows what it is. It knows what it is. It's very tongue-in-cheek, but you have to play it overly serious for the comedy to work. So knowing his humorous sensibilities, knowing his comedic stylings, and the way he plays his character in Cobra Kai, I'm actually really kind of interested to see what he's going to do with Blue Beetle. Mike, where do you stand on this? Have you watched Cobra Kai? Are you familiar with Zolo's work? Where do you stand? What gets you interested about this project?
Yeah, I was hoping you'd cover that because what's nice about kind of these films, DC. Blue Beetle, not very well known. I didn't know much about him. I had to do some research. Thanks for filling us in, Mike, on who Blue Beetle is. But they're taking these minor characters and turning them into movies. It's like, okay, Blue Beetle, that looks interesting. But then reading about he being cast, it's like, okay, I can get behind this. Can we just talk about Cobra Kai? Have you seen it, Mike?
Oh my dear heavens, have I seen it. I love that show. Mike? Mike, are you there? Can you hear me? Where did you go, sir?
There we go. I'm back,
And
I think,
you're back.
maybe.
There
Yep.
you go.
We love the 21st century. So Cobra Kai. Have you watched it, Mike?
I have, and I love the series.
Because it's like when I first heard about it, I'm like, okay, Cobra Kai, I'll give it a shot. What the heck? Watch it in the background. It's a pretty good show.
It's a great show.
They do well. And like his character, he does it well with the acting and the portrayal and just the intense things and the lighter things and everything like that. And what's really nice about he being cast as the Blue Beetle, his martial arts background,
Yes.
which is so nice. Because it's always painful when you watch a movie and the actor's like, they don't know martial arts, they don't know fighting. They can do training, which is nice. But having that background really elevates it. And just having that diversity bring in and just his humble nature, just really excited about the character. And he's going to respect the character.
Of course.
And just want to do his absolute best. So yeah, I can totally get behind this. I don't know Blue Beetle, but it's like, yeah, sign me up. I'll watch it. This looks good stuff.
This strikes me very similar, or rather in a very similar fashion of when Tom Holland was cast to be Spider-Man. Do you remember that video that he did? He did like this weird, crazy half-turn backflip in his backyard, and that kind of went viral. And everybody saw this and went, hang on a second. He can actually do his own stunt work and be Spider-Man. This is incredible. Like Tom Holland can do a standing backflip. No problem. That's super impressive, especially for an actor playing Spider-Man, essentially. So yeah, to your point, Mike, to see Zolo Meridiana being able to do his own martial arts work, so what is it I'm trying to say here? See him like pull in his own martial arts work, whether the Blue Beetle is going to do more martial arts or just physical action in general. He's already suited for it. And to see his acting style, yes, while in Cobra Kai, he's very tongue-in-cheek because that's the style of the show. That's what it needs to be. It makes me wonder if the style of Blue Beetle is going to be more tongue-in-cheek as well, because he's not regarded as a serious actor yet. really the only thing we know him for is Cobra Kai. So it makes me wonder if the tone of this is going to be a little bit more like Shazam, where Shazam got to be its own thing, it's its own standalone movie, and it's kind of a silly movie. It knows what it is, and it plays into the silliness of its own reality, and I like that because it works. So they might be doing a very similar thing here. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're along the same lines, because if you look at the earlier DC movies, they were so serious, they were dark. They did well, and then Justice League just, crashed and burned. And then they went lighter with, like, Shazam, super light and kind of more humorous, and that did fantastic. And that was great. And then Aquaman was still, serious, but a little bit lighter, and Wonder Woman. So I think they've had success in going kind of both the dark, because they can do both. That's what you were saying, what's great about these movies. They're individual standalone. You can have Joker, super dark, but then Shazam, which is super light. So kind of each movie finding their own. But like with him, I could see it totally being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but he can do the serious too, so it'll be a nice diversity, nice ability to go both ways, where they can just make it their own. But yeah, I think he could pull off the funny chops.
I agree.
As well as just super serious.
I agree. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually really kind of excited because this is not the casting I would have expected for this kind of a movie. But now that they have put Zolo Meridiana in this role, I'm really excited to see how he's going to play Jaime Reyes as the Blue Beetle. But question is for you guys. What do you think of this particular casting announcement? Are you excited for the Blue Beetle movie? How do you think it's going to play out? I want to hear all of your thoughts down in the comment section below.
Could you pull up that picture one more time of him and the Blue Beetle costume?
Oh, of course.
What was
this one
that?
right here?
Because when I saw that, I'm like, yeah, I can absolutely see that.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, yes, there's the face, there's the body tone that you can look at and explore and say, yes, they have a very similar physique. Some of the stuff that I'm concentrating on mostly is his personality. Because, again, look at, and I can't think of the actor's name, but the kid that they got to play Billy Batson in Shazam. It was very lighthearted. It was very fun. Nothing about that movie was like... I mean, there were a few dark moments in that movie, don't get me wrong. Like with the Seven Deadly Sins. When the Seven Deadly Sins attack and stuff like that, it got really kind of gross and dark. And you're like, wait a second. This is not the movie I thought that I was watching. But then you offset it with this really heartfelt story about a kid just looking for his mom. He just wants to find his mom. He's a foster kid. He's been lost in the system. He's looking for his family. And he finds it in the most unexpected of places. And I think that's I don't want to heavily compare the Blue Beetle movie to Shazam, but I think that may be a fair template for us to follow. Who is Jaime Reyes? What are his motivations? How does he fit into this world? And now he's just been thrust into this fantastical situation where this kind of like blue scarab that has like mystical powers or whatever attaches itself to his spine, and now he becomes a superhero. Like, what? Hang on. What? So there are some similarities there to compare and contrast against Shazam. So I am really interested to see the tone, mostly the tone of how they're going to play this.
Yeah, and since the Shazam kind of script works so well, kind of taking that, but then making sure not to copy it, making sure it's its own thing. Because that's always annoying when you get a movie that's just a copy paste of another movie.
Oh, that's terrible. I agree.
It happens too often.
All right, guys, I want to move on to our next topic today. And our next emailed topic comes to us from the Nerd Zone. Longtime watcher of the show, Nerd Zone. And Nerd Zone says, news. Hey, man, totally understand about skipping this week's news. He sent in this email last week. If you weren't around, I was not doing, or rather, I did not do a show last week. So I had some legal issues. That's all the more I'm allowed to talk about it. I will not be going into detail as to what those legal issues were. But suffice it to say, I did not do a show last week. So Nerdzone says, hey man, totally understand about skipping this week's show, this week's news. And I hope you're doing well. I am doing very well. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm not going to mention it, but Let There Be Carnage, because already know about the trailer, I imagine, but there are others. Yeah, so Let There Be Carnage. Go watch the trailer. It looks crazy wackadoo, but we'll talk about that at another time. Other topics that Nerdzone wants to bring up: Henry Cavill Flash rumor. We also read down here. There's another topic about Gore the God Butcher. We'll get into that in a second, but let's focus on Henry Cavill Flash rumor. And you guys, if you haven't heard, there is a Flash movie, a Flashpoint Paradox movie, being filmed right now in England, starring Ezra Miller as the Flash. We know that Michael Keaton is reprising his role as Batman in this film. We know that Ben Affleck is reprising his role as Batman in this movie. Obviously, this film takes place in multiple dimensions or multiple Earths, as Barry Allen, the Flash, is able to travel through time and kind of travel from like parallel dimension to parallel dimension. Anyway, one of the big questions being asked right now is with all of these multiple dimensions and permutations of, this universe and that universe and this film series and that film series, are we ever going to see Henry Cavill's Superman back in the DCEU films? We know that Henry Cavill's been very open. We know that DC has been very open in saying that they have parted ways, that they don't have any plans to bring Henry Cavill back. Well, there have been a lot of rumors jumping around the internet saying, hang on, we have it from good authority that Henry Cavill will be making an appearance in the next Flash movie, in this Flashpoint Paradox movie. Well, I don't exactly think that's true. And here's what's going on. So this is a particular article from Screen Rant. Let's jump into this article really quick. As you can see, the headline reads, Henry Cavill Superman reportedly not returning in The Flash or any other DC films. Let's jump down a little bit into this article. It's saying, this particular article saying, Henry Cavill reportedly won't be returning as Superman in The Flash or any other upcoming DCEU projects. Cavill first made his debut as Superman in 2013's Man of Steel, kicking off the official DCEU in the Zack Snyder directed film. The movie proved controversial for longtime fans of the character, some of whom felt it did not stay true to the essence of the beloved hero. Man of Steel went on to gross a whole bunch of money, but, it still didn't quite make as much money as they were hoping. The article goes on to talk about Henry Cavill's career as Superman popping up in this movie and that movie, and the DCEU branching off and doing other types of things. So, what is going on specifically with Henry Cavill in The Flash? Well, here on Twitter, we have in this particular article from Screen Rant, they have brought up VA, or rather at Viewer Anon, says, I'm gonna feel like let's just call him a donkey if this doesn't pan out. But two different people, both of whom I trust, have sworn to me that Henry Cavill is in The Flash. So here we have Viewer Anon, an unvetted source. It sounds like someone who's much like myself, trying to break into the news world realm of movies and movie news and stuff like that, saying that they have it on good authority from two different people of whom that they trust. They have sworn to this person that Henry Cavill is in The Flash. Well, Humberto Gonzalez, who is a writer for The Wrap. If you're not familiar with The Wrap, The Wrap is a fairly respected movie news and entertainment website where, much like The Verge or Vulture or, Rolling Stone, The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety, sites like that. So yeah, the Wrap is fairly well respected on the internet, and Humberto Gonzalez is one of their main reporters at the Wrap. And Humberto Gonzalez has this to say in response to viewer Anon's comment. Humberto Gonzalez says he isn't going to be in The Flash, and in fact doesn't currently have a deal to reprise Superman in any movie. So where does that leave us? Viewer Anon says they have it on good authority from 2 different sources that Henry Cavill will most definitely make an appearance in The Flash. Whether as a cameo or something bigger, we don't know. But this dude is saying Henry Cavill's going to be in the movie. Humberto Gonzalez, a vetted reporter for a decently well-respected website, says, that's not true. Henry Cavill doesn't have anything left in his contract. He has no deals to reprise the role. We've known this for a long time. This is the situation. So we're kind of stuck in a this person said, that person said situation, right? Both sides of the argument could both be true. It most definitely is true that Henry Cavill doesn't have any more Superman deals or any deals on his contract left. In fact, my understanding is that he doesn't have a contract anymore with DC. So he's under no obligation to pop up and show up in any other movies. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't have made a secret deal, you know? I don't know. Mike, I genuinely don't know what to make of this. We are in a he said, she said, this side said, that side said kind of situation. Both sides of the argument could very well be true. We know that the Flash is the kind of character, and especially in this movie, he's going to be jumping from this dimension to that reality, to this Earth, to that place, time traveling, interdimensional travel. It very well could be true. It would kind of be great to see Henry Cavill, as much as I don't particularly like him as Superman. I know, the internet hates me. I know.
I like him as Superman.
A lot of people do.
My fingers are crossed.
A lot of people do. Whether we want to see Henry Cavill pop up in this movie or not, what are the chances that you actually think he will?
It's such a tough one. I mean, going back to 2013, Man of Steel not doing as well. But I mean, it made over $600 million. Come on. But then him reprising the role. Remind me, Mike, did he do reshoots for Zack Snyder's Justice League? I know several of the main characters came back for reshoots.
I don't think he did. I know Affleck and Gal Gadot came back to do reshoots. Well, obviously Affleck did, because they had to film that whole Joker scene, tag scene at the end.
Right, which is interesting because he came back to do reshoots, even though he said he's basically not going to be Batman anymore. So
and now
maybe
he has been confirmed in The Flash. Oh, Mike, your connection's killing me here. But if I can jump in for a moment while Mike is frozen, this does.
No idea if I'm frozen or not.
Oh, you're back. All right. What was the point you were making?
There we go. So yeah, internet's great these days. You gotta love it, especially when you're hooked up to 1 gigabyte speed. But like with the Flash, because I could see it going both ways. Because a lot of studios keep things under wraps, very, very tightly secret. Yeah. And it happens every once in a while that it happens. It's like, we know the Batmans are coming in, but how cool would it be? It's like, oh, Superman's not in it, and then he shows up. People are probably going to lose their lids.
I mean, that's
because of that.
That's kind of the scenario that we're looking at with Spider-Man No Way Home. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Are they going to be in it? No, they're not in it. But then we're all going to lose it when we do see them for real on the big screen.
Exactly.
If we do.
And then what if another scenario, he makes an appearance, and if that goes over well, maybe that would help lead to some discussions of keeping him in the universe.
I think a lot of it depends on what J.J. Abrams wants to do with the character, because we already know that they're doing and I can't think of the character's name, and I hate relegating it to just racial identity, but they're doing Black Superman, and it's killing me. I can't think of his name. But yeah, so J.J. Abrams.
That's not Michael B. Jordan. That's a different movie,
No,
right?
that is with Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is helping to produce the film. Whether he's going to star in the film or not, that's we're still waiting on confirmation for that.
You know what we need for the new Superman movie? Nicolas Cage.
We need that for the Flash movie, Mike. We need that for the Flash movie. We need to see the Nicolas Cage interpretation of the Last Son of Krypton.
How mind-blowing would that be if he shows up in that movie? Then people would lose it.
I would love that. Oh my gosh, I would love that so much. That would be the best. That would be one of the best cameos. That would be one of the best cameos ever. Anyway, guys, huge question is for you. Like, we've had news saying, no, he's not in it, by vetted sources that we know and trust. But as Mike points out, there has been precedent for this in the past where they say, no, but then it happens anyway. So who knows what is actually going on? Question is for you. Do you think that we're going to see Henry Cavill pop up, in the Flash movie? And if so, in what capacity? How much of the story do you think is going to rest on his shoulders if he does? Or is it just going to be more of a, hey, I'm here, cameo, ta-da, kind of a thing? What are your thoughts? I want to know down in the comment section below. All right, guys, let's jump back into that same email that we received from the Nerd Zone. So we already read this email from top to bottom in the previous section, in the previous topic, but I want to look at the last line of this email. Nerdzone says, we get our first look at Gore the God Butcher in Thor 4. And yeah, if you don't entirely understand what it is that Nerdzone is talking about here, Christian Bale has been cast as Gore the God Butcher in the upcoming Thor Love and Thunder film, directed by Taika Waititi, and of course starring Chris Hemsworth, right? We know that Natalie Portman is coming back to reprise her role as Jane, and that she is going to have some incarnation of the powers of Thor being imbued upon her as well. The main villain of the film has already been confirmed to be Gore the God Butcher, as portrayed by Christian Bale himself, former Batman star himself, Christian Bale. And here now we get our first images of what Gore the God Butcher looks like, if the page wants to reload. There we go. Now this particular website is coming from the Daily Mail, and there are so many pictures on this website. On the right, you can see what Gore the God Butcher looks like in the comics. On the left, we see what Gore the God Butcher looks like as portrayed by Christian Bale. You can see he's got a lot of makeup going on. He has these very flowy robes. You guys, when I look at this, I have a few knee-jerk reactions. My first knee-jerk reaction is of what's his name from Thundercats? Mumra. He looks like the villain Mumra from Thundercats. He just kind of has that like feel to him a little bit, right? The other feeling that I get here, especially when you have this one of the PAs on set right here holding kind of a gaffer pole, is these images are very evocative to me of Death, the Grim Reaper. But I'm talking about the Grim Reaper from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. That's the Grim Reaper that I'm thinking of. So these are just the emotional, visceral reactions that I'm having to this particular character. Let's jump into the website really quick and kind of scroll down so you guys can get a few more angles of what Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher looks like. Here he's walking around on set, trying to stay covered up from all the paparazzi, bringing us these particular photos. Here we have a few more photos. On the left, kind of a fairly close-up kind of Christian Bale. Looks like mid-scene or mid-sentence, mid-speech. You can kind of see some of the facial expressions on him a little bit. Maybe that'll be a little indicative as to what we can expect from the personality of Gore the God Butcher to be. More and more and more images of just Christian Bale walking around on set. They're in California. They're on the beach. Lots of sun, lots of sand, lots of coverings happening all around. Mike, when I look at these pictures, when I look at these images, some of the things that I think of first are he looks it's not what I would expect a character named Gore the God Butcher to look like. And I'm not going to profess here that I have always been in love with Gore the God Butcher. I didn't even know who the character was until it was announced that Christian Bale was playing this character. However, having said that, I see these images and it looks kind of mystical. It looks kind of creepy. It looks like the kind of thing that I could really get behind. And of course, Taika Waititi is a master filmmaker. He's excellent at comedy. He's proven that again and again and again. So especially in a production like this, I'm really excited to see what it is that Gore the God Butcher is actually going to look like the finished product. Mike, when you see these particular types of images, and Mike, please let me know if you're still there. Looks like your Skype is frozen once again. As you point out, Skype is such a lovely tool when it works, and when it doesn't, it is so maddening. So maddening. So I'm going to go ahead and say, Mike, you are probably not with us at the moment. But yeah, when I see these types of images, it gets me excited a little bit. It gets me excited to think of what is this actually going to look like? What is it going to feel like? Normally when I see set photos like this, I think, my goodness, okay, it's a set photo, you guys. Let's not get all crazy. Let's not get all crazy about this. Let's take this for what it is. Let's understand the situation for what it is. A photo is not going to make or break a movie, you know? A photo is not going to make or break a movie. What it is going to do is give us just the tiniest insight as to what this character is going to look like, maybe feel like, maybe sound like. It's not going to be this incredible revelation as to, oh my goodness, oh, we saw our first images of Gore the God Butcher. Oh, this is either incredible or it's terrible. No, it's a picture, it's an image. Do you remember when the first images of was Apocalypse from the Bryan Singer X-Men film, X-Men Apocalypse? When we first got our first image of Apocalypse, he was purple. We all know that Apocalypse is supposed to be blue. But even though it was not a very good movie, you can't judge that based off of a set photo. You can't judge that based off of, what the actor is dressed as. Because the colorization has yet to come in. Like, in X-Men Apocalypse, Oscar Isaac was wearing all this purple makeup because that's the color that they needed on set so that they could recolor the character later in post-production and get him to look blue, get him to look the way that he's supposed to look. So, Mike, when you look at these images for the first time, you get to see what Gore the God Butcher or Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher looks like. First of all, does it get you excited? Where are you at with this kind of a thing? And do you think that these types of photos are even important?
Yeah, and let's hear it for Skype and technology. So nice and fun.
Oh, yes.
Um, yeah, so it's like when I first saw the pictures, well, when I first read it, or the God Butcher, I'm like, who is this? Okay. And he hasn't been around for too long, what, 2012? I think
Yeah.
it was saying.
Something like that, yeah.
So pretty cool bringing in a new character
Fairly new, yeah.
into the universe. But yeah, when I saw the pictures, it's like, okay, that's not that intimidating. But then kind of talking about his height, his scale, and also you have to think about like what's CGI gonna do? Because movies these days, so much is CGI. But just from like the picture so far, it's like not too intimidating. But I mean, looking forward to what they're gonna do because they've had huge success, Marvel. They haven't steered us wrong too many times.
No, they have not. And not just Marvel, but like um, Taika Waititi himself is just a genius. He's a genius at what he does.
Big time.
He's able to bring to life characters in a certain way that we haven't thought of before. We haven't looked at from these perspectives before, and he just like brings heart and comedy and light to these characters and these situations, and it's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful thing.
There's a reason Thor Ragnarok was such a big hit and success.
Yeah, because he's an incredible director.
Yep.
Anyway, guys, a big question that I have for you is, what do you think of these images of Christian Bale emerging on the interwebs as Gore the God Butcher? We know that a still image is not going to make or break a movie. This incarnation of the character may look exactly like what you expected. It may look completely different from what you expected, but it could be anywhere in between. I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. All right, guys, with that, we have one last bit of movie news to bring to you. And give me 1 second. I'm still trying to produce the show as as we're moving along. All right, you guys, we have one last bit of movie news to talk to you, to bring to you. Let's jump into the mailbag for a second. We got an email from Benjamin Yo Mama the other day, and it's a little lengthy, and there's a lot to break down here. We are going to be talking about the Super Mario Brothers animated film, reportedly coming out next year in 2022. And again, it's tentatively being reported September 2022. While that has not been actually confirmed, that's kind of what it is being rumored right now. Benjamin Yo Mama says, in regards to the Super Mario movie, yes, there will be a Mario movie by Nintendo and Illumination Studios in 2022. And it's not in the script phase, but in the animation phase, which, in order to start doing animation, you need a script first. So, as Benjamin Yo Mama is pointing out, yes, there is a script. And we're beyond that. We're in the next phase. We're in the animation phase right now. He says, and has been since the early 2020, maybe March? I can't tell if the IMDb page is credible, as it has many people who are actually working on the film credited at the right places. He lists a link to a source from LinkedIn. He says there are many more accounts on LinkedIn that mention the Illumination Mario movie, so you may want to check that out and see if you can find out new information on the movie. There's also a rumor that the producers of Teen Titans Go and Thundercats 2011 are directing the Mario movie. As for voice casting, Charles Martinet, the voice actor of Mario in the video games, may or may not be voicing Mario. It's a big mystery. In an interview, Charles Martinet was brought on to the topic of the Mario movie, and he responds with something along the lines of, "I haven't been invited yet." So, okay, first of all, Benjamin, thank you so much for your email. There's a lot to unpack here. Before I navigate away from this screen, I kind of want to address some of these different things individually. You're saying, yes, there will be a Mario movie by Nintendo and Illumination in 2022. For right now, that's what Nintendo is saying is going to happen. I haven't seen a lot of movement outside of their initial announcement of this to show us that they're on track for a 2022 release. I'm not saying they're not on track for a 2022 release, but I'm not seeing the traction. I'm not seeing all the other steps in motion. I'm not seeing a vocal cast announced. We'll talk about that in a second because we do have breaking news on that in that regard. I'm not seeing announcements of a director. I'm not seeing announcements of script writers. Shigeru Miyamoto and Chris Meledandri from Illumination have been very forthright in saying that they're producing this thing, that it's coming, and that they've done a lot of work on it so far. And that's all the more that we've heard from. And that information, if you're curious, comes from a Nintendo investors meeting that happened late last year in 2020, saying that, hey, this movie is coming out in 2022. We're working on it. We've been at work on it. And there's a little bit more there, but that was directly from the Nintendo investors meeting back in 2020, late 2020, right? Okay. You're saying it's not in the script phase. It is in the animation phase. I haven't been able to find anything that has explicitly confirmed that. So, Benjamin Yomama, if you have any specific source, or anyone else, if you guys have any specific sources saying or acknowledging that they are in the animation phase, please send them my way. I jumped over to the IMDb page that you referred me to, and the IMDb page has a lot of credits on it, as you can see here. But the problem with an IMDb page is that anyone who has an IMDb subscription, if you are a member of IMDb, you can pretty much jump into any page or like movie, whatever, and change or make up your own credits. I have made up my own credits on my own IMDb page, and they all look official. If you go to my IMDb page, yes, I have actual credits to my name, but I've also been the one that credited myself in all of these different projects. There's no actual studio head to oversee that I actually am in these productions, right? So it's a little like Wikipedia in that regard with IMDb, in that you can kind of go in and change various things. So there's that. Benjamin Yomama also goes on to send me this link to LinkedIn. I told you guys there's a lot to break down here, so bear with me, okay? Just bear with me. I went to this LinkedIn link, and yes, there are animators who have their official LinkedIn profiles on LinkedIn, and they're listing all of their credits. The credits for Super Mario Movie, or rather the Super Mario Movie, don't explicitly say Super Mario Movie. It's just listed as Illumination Project M, where all of the finished Illumination projects that these animators and CG artists have been working on, they're credited as Illumination's The Grinch, or Illumination's Minions, or Illumination's Despicable Me, or Illumination's Secret Life of Pets. But then there's also kind of like this mystery project that says Illumination Movie M or something, right? So it's not actually coming straight out and saying it's the Super Mario movie. It might be something completely different that Illumination is working on right now. It's not actual confirmation. It's speculation. Is it exactly the Mario movie? Probably. I mean, I will go so far as to say, yeah, maybe, probably. But it's not actual confirmation. It is still speculation. You even point out here that there are rumors that the producers of Teen Titans Go and the Thundercats 2011 are directing the Super Mario movie. Again, as you point out, you say that's a rumor. I've done a little bit of research, and I haven't been able to find anything to corroborate or even suggest that. So if you have any links, if you have any confirmations, please send them my way, because I'm not able to find what it is that you're pointing out here. And again, last thing with Charles Martinet, I haven't been able to find anything to confirm or deny his involvement in this. So, I mean, again, is it news? No, it's non-news. Is he in it? Well, he may be, he may not be. Well, my goodness, is Batman going to be in the new Spider-Man film? Well, he may be, but he also might not be. You know, you kind of see where this is going a little bit. So it's a little non-news. I definitely want to transition into something that is a little bit more concrete. This email on the same topic comes from the Nerd Zone. Nerd Zone says, I have more news again, LOL, and it's about the Mario movie again. A comedian, I forgot his name, and we'll talk about his name in a moment. Excuse me, my brain went somewhere else. Forgot his name, announced his character to be Mario and Luigi's boss, Spike. Now, there are two Spikes in Mario, the enemy Spike that throws spiky balls out of his mouth, and Mario's boss in an old NES game called The Wrecking Crew. Came out in 1985. It came out right after Super Mario Brothers game. It's called The Wrecking Crew, and it has Mario in it. And there's a character called Spike in it, and they're kind of rivals, right? They're working for a wrecking crew, and they're like tearing down buildings or whatever. That's gist of the game. Nerd Zone finishes off his email saying, and you said the film might be canceled. I never said the film might be canceled. I never said that. What I said is that I'm dubious with not hearing any movement at all on this movie. I'm dubious that it actually will come out in 2022. I'm confident that it will happen. I'm dubious that it's going to happen in 2022. But, as Nerd Zone points out, yes, there is a comedian who has been officially attached to the movie. And as I'm scrolling through the webpage, I am blanking on his name. Sebastian Maniscalco. This is the first I'm hearing of his name. So Sebastian Maniscalco is his name, and let's jump into this real quick. And my apologies, you guys. There's any time that we have something like this, and there's a lot of moving bits and pieces and a lot of disjointed news, we have to break it down one by one. So yeah, in this article from Yahoo Finance, it's saying that we finally know something about the new Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, I made a video about an update. What is the current status of the Super Mario Brothers movie? What's going on? And I laid out fairly methodically and with cited sources why I don't think it's actually coming out in 2022. And I think, Nerd Zone, that's what you were referring to before. This news very specifically, kind of points me in a very different direction. I think I'm going to have to eat crow a little bit, because it looks, based on this news, in that Sebastian, my dear goodness, I can't remember his name, to save my life. Oh, you guys, I am so sorry. Excuse me. Sebastian Maniscalco. And here you can see, this is where we get all this information from. Sebastian Maniscalco was on a podcast called The Bertcast. And, you know, he's with another comedian. They're talking about life and projects and this and that, whatever. And he was specifically asked by the host, what are you doing later today? Like, what do you have filling your day today? Sebastian Maniscalco responds by saying, oh, well, I'm in this new movie. It's an animated Super Mario movie, and I'm playing a character named Spike, who is Super Mario's boss. And then that's all the more he says about it. He has to go into the studio later today to record some lines as Spike, Super Mario's boss, for the animated Super Mario movie. Now, up until this point, we've heard no forward movement on this project, on this movie. And now, all of a sudden, a couple of days ago, thanks to this podcast, it sounds like Sebastian Maniscalco may have loose lip sync ships a little bit, right? He's kind of let the cat out of the bag in that there actually is forward momentum on this. This didn't seem like a planned Nintendo Illumination combined joint effort to be like, all right, we need to start getting some word of mouth about this thing. It sounds like he kind of accidentally let this one slip. And like Nintendo and Illumination kind of wanted to keep this thing on the down low a little bit. I mean, maybe I'm misinterpreting the signs here a little bit, Mike, but you know, I just spent like the past 4 hours talking about the history of Super Mario Bros. Movie, everything of like clarifying this and breaking down that, and you know what might be true, what might not be true. But now we actually have confirmation that vocal cast recording is happening. It is in progress. We don't know who's playing Mario. We don't know who's playing Luigi. We don't know who's playing this character or that character. But we do actually have confirmation from the horse's mouth itself that Sebastian Maniscalco is playing the character of Spike, Mario's boss. How do you take this? Like, what? I don't know. Like, this is so new. Like, what are your knee-jerk reactions here?
Yeah. Ooh, hello, head. Yep, I switched cameras.
Oh,
sorry, Mike. Make him do work on the fly while I talk. Perfect. I mean, when I first heard about it, because I haven't heard too much about it, it's like I always think the Mario Brothers movie from back in the day. What was the 80s,
that was
90s?
93.
Ooh, that was painful. But then you hear it's animated, and you're like, okay, that's a bit better. I can get behind this more. But like them coming out saying it's going to be 2022, I don't see that happening. Because yes, it's a year away, but just like we've heard nothing. We heard there's voice acting going into it. Great. That's some progress. But with just everything being pushed and just the working, yeah, I don't see it coming out next year. With little as we know. And yeah, that coming out, they'll do some voice recording for Spike. With how tightly Nintendo likes to keep things, guaranteed, I'm guessing, they did not okay this. So it's like, oh, what's Nintendo going to do? What's Illumination going to do to either, do they confirm it now? Do they just ignore it? Do they try to kind of cover it up? So what do they do is the question.
So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think this was a slip of the lip. I don't think that this was a planned marketing thing at all. I don't think that Maniscalco was supposed to say. I have a feeling that he doesn't understand how big this thing is, or how much people care about this property. And so for him to just kind of be like, oh yeah, so I'm recording this Super Mario movie thing, he probably didn't think twice about it. It was kind of like for me, hey, yeah, I'm going to the supermarket. But if people actually care that I go to the supermarket, like, I didn't realize how big of a news thing that could be.
And he says it so casually.
So casually.
It's not like, surprise, I'm going to go record. He's like, yeah, I got to go home. You know, I got to record something.
Because before that, he was talking about like, oh yeah, got to take my kid home from school. Oh yeah, I have to go into the studio to record this thing. I don't know, probably gonna have a glass of wine, just kind of like wind down at night, like put my feet up, watch some TV. And you're like, hang on, can we go back to that Mario thing? Hang on, what did you just say?
So that was either the best subtle slip that he planned, just list this, or he just let it slip without realizing it. It's like, I mean, it's definitely the latter, but that'd be perfect. It's like if he planned it. It's like, let this slip in and then the internet will go nuts. Of course, that's not the case, but
it's
still.
True. Now, before this news came out, I was convinced this film was not coming out in 2022. Based on this news, this actually kind of makes me believe that Nintendo and Illumination are planning a secret project and that they're way far more into development than I ever thought, or maybe that people knew. Do you still hold the opinion that this movie is not coming out in 2022? Or is this a little bit more like, you know what? Maybe this actually could be a really big secret project that they're just... Because as you point out, Mike, you pointed out yourself that Nintendo is known for its secrecy. They don't want leaks. They don't want slip of the lip like Sebastian over here.
No.
So, I mean, is it possible that this is a huge secret project that there's been way more development on than anybody knows? Or are they still trying to figure themselves out? What do you think?
Yeah, I know. I mean, Nintendo's done it before, kind of keeping things under wraps. But just thinking about what it takes to make an animated movie, because like where along the line does it fall? I forget. Because with voice acting, animation's not done yet. And animation takes so long these
Correct.
days. It's like, what is it, like 3, sometimes 4
Well,
years,
I mean, yeah, it depends on the movie. I think that,
depending on the
yeah,
movie.
depending
Yeah,
on the film.
it takes a
It
while.
does.
But if they're just doing the voice now, there's still a good animation to go to make sure everything is synced, everything is good. I'm going to say, I mean, just with everything too going on in the world, I'm going to say it's not going to hit 2022.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it. Whereas before in the previous video, I was convinced there's no way it could make a September 2022 release date. I don't know. I'm not like it. And again, we don't know what stage of voice acting they're in. This could be just like one of the last characters to come in, and maybe they're getting like small characters and oh, what's his face? Sebastian. Why can I never think of his name? Whatever.
Manikowski?
No. Yeah, whatever this comedian's name is. Maybe Sebastian's just playing such a small character. It only takes a day for him to come in and record his lines, and then he'll forget about it for a year and a half, and then the movie will come out and say, "Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that." Maybe they already have the character design down and the template, and all they have to do is just have him record the lines, and then they'll animate his mouth around the lines, and then there it is. I don't actually know how this is going to play out, or in what stage of development this is. In fact, nobody does, because nobody's reporting on it. Like, actual sources aren't giving us any forward movement on the, or confirmation of forward movement on this. But you guys, I want to hear your thoughts. Are you thinking this is a secret project that is just going to blow everyone away, or are you kind of thinking a little bit more along Michael G's lines, where it's, yeah, maybe we could push this out to 2023, give him a little bit more time? Because I'll be honest, I'm caught in the middle. I'm completely caught in the middle, but I want to hear what your thoughts are. Maybe you have more information than we do. Let me know. I need to know so I can give you guys the best informed opinion that I can. But like I said, what are your thoughts? Jump on down to the comment section below. All right, so that pretty much brings us to the end of segment 1. Mike, I know you have your own Twitch show coming up in what, 13 minutes is when you're starting?
About so.
About
Yep.
13 minutes. Well, in that case, sir, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm going to jump in and take some live comments and questions. I wish you could stick around.
I can stick around for 10
you can
minutes.
stick around for 10 minutes. Great.
I'm good. It only takes a couple minutes to load things
Let's
up.
do it. In that case, let's stop wasting time, jump in, and take some live comments and questions.
It's alive! It's alive!
All right, you guys, let's jump right in and do this. And our first comment today is from the Nerd Zone. Nerd Zone says, just watched The Suicide Squad at the cinemas, in all caps. And we were able to get my 10-year-old sister into it. And it's a 15 here, which essentially is it's the rating system of the UK. So in the United States, we have G, PG, PG-13, and R. And there's NC-17 after that. But in the UK, it goes, correct me if I'm wrong, it goes U for Universal, and then PG, and then 12, and then 15, and then 18, I believe is the rating system. So the movie was rated at a 15, which is, it's like a low R for us. He says, it's definitely my favorite film this year was Zack Snyder's Justice League. DC knows what we like now, and I can't wait for next year. Yeah, I mean, I, just like yourself, I had the opportunity to watch Suicide Squad in theaters in my favorite theater. It was the Dolby Cinema. Lots of sound, lots of shaking action. You really feel like you're a part of it. It was a great movie. Still not my favorite movie of the year. That honor goes to The Green Knight. And maybe I should talk about The Green Knight on next week's show, because I unabashedly loved that film. But yeah, Suicide Squad is an easy film to be a lot of people's top #1 film. Mike, I know you didn't have a chance to watch Suicide Squad yet, but based on the trailer and things that you know about it, what are things that stand out to you as like fun moments and fun, interesting things about this movie?
Yeah, I don't remember specifically too much, but it looks like they've been learning their lessons, DC, as they've been going. Suicide Squad, the first one, it was okay. Yeah, I think we're both in agreement there. But I mean, from the trailer of this one, it looks like they've done better. They've learned. They've kind of tweaked things, and they're getting their stride, which is great, because DC struggled for so long.
Yeah.
And now that they're slowly finding things, it's good.
They're raising the bar slowly but surely. I mean, Wonder Woman 84 was a bit of a setback, not in terms of the overall things, but I mean, it could have been. It wasn't where the first Wonder Woman was.
No, it wasn't, which was a shame. It's like, oh, this is gonna be sweet. Wonder Woman, great character, first movie. 84 was a little lacking, a
little bit. Let's jump back into the comments. Nerdzone says, I'm watching a YouTuber called Beyond the Trailers. Oh, Beyond the Trailer. Oh, dear. Beyond the Trailers review on the movie. If you have seen the film, watch this review, because it will make you die of cringe, because I'm dying of cringe watching this. I don't want to say anything negative about Beyond the Trailer. I'm familiar with Grace's work. I've watched her videos in the past. It's her brand of videos is not for me. I'm not her target audience. So, I'm not gonna hate on another YouTuber. It's just not for me. Nerdzone says, really funny film, and the action and camera work was amazing. Characters were all amazing, and even though we had some deaths, each character had its moment, and the dynamic between some characters were well written. And Idris Elba and John Cena's dynamic were the best I've seen in a DC movie, and I loved its childish nature, and it suited the types of movies it's meant to be. He goes on, and I love. Oh no, I missed it. Where did we go? How did I skip all the... Okay. And I love how stupid King Shark is. Nice character change that you will love. He was a bit too Groot, but you will love him. Yeah. So there's a lot to break down here. I agree. The Suicide Squad was really funny. It was great action. It was great camera work. Had great characters. The character of Harley Quinn, after we left the movie theater, I turned to Kim and I said, Harley Quinn in this movie is much like Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark, in that remove Indiana Jones from the movie, you have the same exact outcome. Same thing with Harley Quinn. Like, there wasn't a narrative purpose for her character to be in this movie, except she's just a wild card. She's fun. Anytime Harley Quinn or Margot Robbie is on screen, she's so fun and enjoyable to watch. I agree with you, Nerdzone, that all the deaths, and I'm not going to go into spoiler. This is not a spoiler discussion of Suicide Squad yet. We'll probably do that next week, once more people have had a chance to watch the movie. But yes, the people that James Gunn decides are going to meet their demise were shocking. They were incredible. Some of them were funny. Some of them were tragic. I don't think it's a perfect film, but it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You said it's well written. I agree. It was well written. For the most part, there were a few we didn't get as much out of Thinker as I would have thought that we would. I thought Thinker was going to play a bigger role in the movie. Just Elba and John Cena's dynamic, you are correct, was some of the best on-screen dynamics. Just seeing those two, like, because they had like a love-hate relationship with each other. Like, they were so bro-y with each other, but in like a really fun, kind of like brotherly kind of way. It was very enjoyable to watch. I really enjoyed it.
So, Mike, I haven't watched the movie. So, John Cena's character.
Yes.
Like, I've seen pictures.
As Peacemaker.
But really good?
So, John Cena is not known for his acting, right?
No. He's a fantastic person, though.
Oh, because you and I got to see him in person at Fan X in Salt Lake.
Fan X. Fantastic person.
Yes. That is actually what made me a John Cena fan. Because up until then, you just like, oh, okay, John Cena, all this fanfare, wrestling, all that stuff. Meh. But yeah, his colors really came out in that Q&A at Fan X. And he is a wonderful human being. But an actor, he is not. While even in this movie, an actor he is not, one of the strengths that is James Gunn is he writes characters, or rather he casts characters so well, or casts actors to play his characters, right? So the character of Peacemaker was written in a very specific way that John Cena could only portray. And John Cena killed it. He knocked it out of the park. Somebody's getting a phone call. Excuse me.
Spam calls. Why? Just why?
But yeah, so John Cena did a great job as Peacemaker in this, and it really got me excited to watch the spin-off TV show Peacemaker on HBO Max later.
Oh, there's a spin-off TV show?
Spin-off TV show of his character. It's unclear what... How do I say this? I'm just not going to say anything. Yeah, but actually, no. Yeah, I believe the Peacemaker TV show is a prequel. I believe it's a prequel. Yeah.
Live action, I'm assuming?
Action. Yeah. So,
nice.
It looks fun. It looks silly. It looks fun. Let's jump in and take another comment, and so we can get Mike's reactions to the thing. Redacted83 says, no spoilers, please, Nerd Zone. Nerd Zone says, I won't spoil. No major story themes, I promise, Nerd Zone, because a lot of it was spoiled for me on TikTok, and it upset me. Oh, no. I love this. I love that we're having commentary banter back and forth. Redacted83 says, I hope DC can carry on with films like the Blue Beetle. Not every film needs to link. We can have Blue Beetle trilogy and Black Adam trilogy and not involve Batman or Superman. Mike, let's go to you. Let's get your thoughts about that.
I think, yeah, that's the case. I think DC's finding it. Like, they tried to do the combined universe with the movies and then Justice League and bringing everything together. It didn't exactly work. But like Shazam as a standalone, other movies as a standalone, Joker as a standalone, they've found success. And now like Black Adam, I mean, Dwayne Johnson, he's just magic gold. Yep. So, I mean, his movie's going to do great. So if they can do a trilogy there, Blue Beetle does well trilogy here. And yeah, they don't need to bring in other characters because they're great standalone. And there's so many good stories in the DC universe that they can just keep pulling from. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. It doesn't need to be universe. It can be great. And if they want to drop little hints here and there, that works. But you don't always need Batman. You don't always need Superman.
I agree.
These characters can stand on their own.
I agree so hard with you right now. Yep. All right, sir. It is on my coast 2:28, which means that your Twitch live stream starts in 2 minutes. So I will let you go. Yep. Do you want to plug one more time, just to get maybe a couple more views?
Absolutely. So yeah, my name's Michael. You can find me at twitch.tv/IamNotDeadYet. And you know, it's a play on words because I'm not dead yet, and there's more behind that. Just roll with the punches.
It's a life philosophy.
it's a life philosophy. Life can be hard, but yeah, just keep going. And sometimes it's just, I'm not dead yet. That's how I'm doing. But yeah, just feel free to drop in. If you like gaming, playing Horizon Zero Dawn right now, I'm mediocre at it, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, if you like games, drop in. I play a variety of games, and basically just to chat. It's a free, fun-loving community, accepting, and that's why Nerd Zone, kind of you were saying, it's like that's why the internet's so great, because it's inclusive, and those with disabilities can kind of say, hey, I have a disability, but that's okay, and other things like that. So yeah, twitch.tv/I'm not dead yet. It's a pretty fun time.
Dude,
And mediocre gameplay.
thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for offering your insight and your thoughts and opinions. And let's have you back on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me anytime. You know where I am. This was fun, and hopefully we don't have internet issues next time.
And definitely go check out Mike's Twitch and go follow him and be part of his community over on Twitch.
Absolutely. And yet, follow Mike if you haven't, if you're just stopping by, because he's a smart guy. He knows his stuff. And he's fun.
All right, man. I'll see you later.
Awesome. Thank
Have
you
a great
so much.
show.
Thanks, you too.
All right, guys. Let's jump on. Take our next live comment. Live comment comes from Redacted83. Obviously, I meant the blue beetle, not the blue bottle. Yeah, I can read between the lines sometimes when you type Redacted83. Nerdzone says, if you want a sequel to Batman Returns, the first issue of Batman 89, which continues that universe and includes Harvey Dent and the Joker, Harvey Dent looking like Billy D. Williams. Interesting. I'm not familiar with this. But of course, I'm a huge fan of the Tim Burton Batman movies, starring Michael Keaton. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out for this. I may actually have to go into some of those Amazons and look it up. Check it out. Batman 89, the comics. Yeah, I'll go check it out because I would love to see what else they do. And again, when IDW is really great at this. When they take movie franchises and property like Ghostbusters, they've continued on the story of Ghostbusters. So many other great comic book publishing companies have done this with a lot of different IPs and continued on the stories. James Bond is another one. And they're really fun. They're great stories that keep it going. Redacted 83 says Idris is cool. Would be weird if he was Knuckles. Would it be weird though? I don't know. It seems it's not the kind of casting that I would look at and say, "Oh, this is perfect casting." But I see it and I go "Yeah, I could see that." I wouldn't have initially thought of it, but now that it's been brought to my attention, I'm "Yeah, I can get behind that." Yeah, Knuckles has kind of a hard edge to him. I mean, he was a villain. And then he got turned into a good guy, right? Which, having seen so many different portrayals of Idris Elba in different films and whatever, I can see that. I can see how Idris Elba was a villain and then got turned into a hero. So yeah, I don't know. I can kind of associate his name or his voice in that regard. Nerdzone says Tails needs a child actor. He's always the youngest and is between 12 and 14. Interesting. Interesting. I never thought about that, but yeah, you might be onto something. Let me put my brain to it. You guys, we've been going for an hour and a half. We still have a whole bunch more comments yet to get through. If you don't mind, don't go anywhere. I'm just going to take a quick 3-minute break. I know the last time I did this, it turned out to be 6. I'm going to keep it to 3. We're going to take a very quick 3-minute break. Allow me to rest my voice. Go and take a... You understand the concept of a break. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back in exactly 3 minutes. All right, you guys, we are back, and I do apologize, but I thank you so much for your patience, giving me just a quick 3-minute break there. All right, let's jump back in with a comment from the Nerd Zone. Nerd Zone says, John Boyega for Tails, Mike. I hate you. I hate you so much. You're jumping on the Redacted 83 bandwagon here, Nerd Zone. You're supposed to be on my side. You're supposed to be on my side, Nerd Zone. For the record, and I've been on the record, I feel like 1,000 times at this point, but I don't hate John Boyega. I don't think he's a bad actor. He is not a Chadwick Boseman level actor, but he's also not garbage. He's not terrible. He's not a Tom Arnold either. You two. Let's see. Redacted 83. So Redacted 83 says at Nerdzone, I will watch a new Batman, but I don't want another origin and same old unless it's Batman Beyond. Interesting. I'll watch a new Batman, but I don't want another origin and same old unless it's a Batman Beyond. To which Nerdzone says no. This is like a continuation of the Burton verse. Yeah. In that regard, yeah, that comic actually sounds really cool, really interesting to me. But Redacted 83, if you're talking about a like an animated show, we haven't had. I mean, we've had one Batman Beyond television show. We've had one Batman Beyond animated film. I would love to see Terry. Oh, what's his name? Terry. I'm sure you're screaming it at your computer right now. Terry Quinn? That's not his name. Terry. I don't. You know what I'm talking about. Terry. From Batman Beyond. I would love to see a live action version of that, and or a brand new version of the animated show. I think that would be really cool. Let's see. Redacted 83 says Knuckles for me would be Jack Black, and Tables, I think you mean Tails, Josh Gad. Josh Gad is Tails. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Jack Black as Knuckles. That might be a little too cartoonish. I think Jack Black as Knuckles might be just a little too cartoonish. Even when you compare it against Ben Schwartz, because the performance that Ben Schwartz gives in the first Sonic movie isn't. I mean, it's. I'm gonna say it's cartoony, but it's also not like cartoonish. And maybe I'm just. If you understand the spirit of what I'm saying, I don't know if Jack Black could hone it a little bit. I mean. It's irrelevant because it's not going to happen. Idris Elba is playing Knuckles. But, yeah, that's an interesting... I like Josh Gad, though. I do like that as Josh Gad. Nerdzone says, nah, Tails is a teen, nerdy kid. He needs someone younger. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Who would... Again, I'm in my late 30s. My connection with like the up and coming youth in terms of acting or whatever, I'm not quite as well versed. So I'm gonna have to ponder this one. I'll think it over. Nerdzone says Zolo is a perfect choice, but not gonna lie, he would do a good job as Invincible. Oh man. As like Invincible's son, right? Or maybe that is Invincible. Yeah, I think that is Invincible. Yeah, I've only seen the first episode, so I never read the comic, but I've only seen the first episode. I know. I need to continue on. I know. But yeah, I've also heard a lot of stuff about. I know that J.K. Simmons voiced Invincible's father in the Amazon television show. Animated television show, but I think he would also kind of be perfect for a live action version. But yeah, you're right. I could totally see Zolo as Invincible. Yeah, that would be really cool. Cobra Kai 4 got another teaser, and I was right. December 2021 release. I know, I saw that. And I was like, yeah, Cobra Kai this year. Man, how is the Cobra Kai is so silly and so campy, but it's so good. Oh, it's so good. I love it. Nerdzone says, my stepdad just the Flashpoint first print, and I'm sad because of it. My stepdad just the Flashpoint first print, and I'm sad because of it. My stepdad just saw the Flashpoint first print, just read the Flashpoint first print, and I'm sad because of it. I feel like there's an article there that we're missing, and I'm missing out on it. Sorry, I just got a text from Redacted83. I can't share it with you, but it's pretty funny. It's specifically regarding what it is that we're talking about or have been talking about. It's pretty funny. Made me chuckle a lot. Nerdzone says, I actually liked Man of Steel, a unique take on the Son of Krypton as a non-Superman fan. Am I a Superman fan? I would say yes. Superman Unbound, the animated film, is probably my favorite Superman movie out there. I also really enjoyed the Brandon Routh Superman Returns. I know a lot of people take issue with it. I love the look. I love the feel. I like the story. Yes, I understand the ridiculousness of the end of him. Like, kryptonite is Superman's weakness. So how can Superman lift essentially a continent completely made out of kryptonite? It doesn't make any sense. Yes, I understand that. If that is that's the one gaping hole of that movie, then I'm like, no, this makes no sense. But everything else, the story of that film is what makes it for me, because it introduces the idea that if Superman is an invincible character, then what is his weakness? And his weakness are the people around him. And that movie really does kind of explore that idea a little bit. And yes, I mean, the whole like, oh no, Lois and Lane is in trouble again. But it introduces a whole new element, which is Superman's son. Or rather, a child that could be Superman's son, right? And then if we kind of get to find out that, yeah, it is Superman's son, right? But they toy with this whole, like, is he not? He could be, he might not be. And then, of course, at the end, we get, like, the whole, oh, no, that kid has superpowers. That totally is Superman's son, right? So I like that. I like that type of storytelling a lot. And what is his weakness? But, you know, as you say, Man of Steel is a really interesting look at the character of Superman as well. There's a lot of things about that movie that don't do it for me. First and foremost, way too long. That movie is way too long. Easily a half an hour too long, if not more. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but is not the runtime 2.5 hours? I think it's like 2.5 hours. So it's easily a half an hour too long, probably closer to 45 minutes too long, right? That whole end battle sequence between him and Zod, where they just mass destroy everything. The entire city of Metropolis gets decimated, essentially. Again, that sequence went on way too long. I get it, there wasn't enough action from Superman Returns. So in Man of Steel, you want to kind of like up the ante and kind of like make it bigger and grosser. I get that. I appreciate that. I appreciate the acknowledgement of that. But the practical application was it was too gratuitous. And I'm not talking about like, oh, there was too much violence. No, it was just, we get it. You're destroying the city and like, we just keep destroying. Like, I get it. Like, shorten it down a little bit, right? Yeah, like the whole thing with Kevin Costner as his father running in to like save the dog and like sacrificing himself just to protect the secret. Again, I get the emotional motivations for that, but it was the practical application of the way he went about sacrificing. There was no reason in that moment for Jonathan Kent to sacrifice himself. if the dog can safely run to safety, but Jonathan Kent doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying that a human needs to outrun a dog, but come on, you guys. Like, that was a little... And he just, like, stayed there. He wasn't even trying to get out of the way. He wasn't even... Anyway. But I do appreciate Man of Steel for what it is. I don't love it. It is not my favorite DCEU film by a long shot. But I do appreciate it for what it is. There are a lot of redeeming qualities to that film. There's just a lot of few gaping holes that I can't quite get around. Nerdzone says, I finished 2 Batman comics yesterday. Batman Hush. Oh, yeah. And The Man Who Laughs. I've never read The Man Who Laughs. I know of it, but I've never read it. Both all right. Hush was overrated. What? For me. What is your favorite Batman story you will always read? For me, the best Batman story I've ever read was Dark Knight Returns. And Long Halloween. Oh, I don't know. Is it Long Halloween? Let me change this. The Dark Knight Returns is my favorite animated film. DC animated film. Probably The Long Halloween was my favorite comic. Man, that was a good read. Oh, I loved The Long Halloween. Oh, and I keep telling people about it too. Like, that's, Long Halloween. There was also Dark Victory, which was the sequel to Long Halloween. Dark Victory wasn't quite as good as Long Halloween, but it was still good. Tangentially, if we go Green Arrow, The Quiver. Kevin Smith wrote, I don't believe he illustrated, but he wrote the Quiver series. I think it's only 6 issues. It was like a reinvention of Green Arrow, and it is near perfection. So that was great too, but it's not a Batman story, but yeah. Nerdzone says, mine is The Killing Joke. Nice and short, great story. Yep. And I got the Absolute Edition, and it was a good read. I also have the Absolute Edition in hardback, and yeah, I'm not a huge fan of hardback. I don't like collecting First of all, I don't collect a lot of comics. I have a bunch. I have a handful. I wouldn't say that I'm a comic book collector, but I prefer my comics to be in paperback. My Killing Joke Ultimate Edition is in hardback, and I think that was, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the only version that was published, was the hardback version. But I wanted it, so I mean, it's the animated movie, nowhere near as good. There were aspects of it that were really cool. I hated what they did with the first 20-30 minutes of that film. I hated that. Oh, I hated that so much. But yeah, that comic is... It's either The Killing Joke. No, I'm still gonna say Dark Knight Returns. Dark Knight Returns is probably the most important Batman comic book ever written. Killing Joke is probably second. It's probably number 2. Oh, it's great though. Oh, it's great. Nerdzone says, OMG, Superman lives in Flash. Yes. Hasn't been confirmed. In fact, all signs point to Henry Cavill not returning in the Flash movie. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and find out. Nerdzone says, I mean, I don't care as much as others, though, because he isn't real, and I'm not a Superman fan. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're just going to have to wait and find out. Is Henry Cavill reprising his role as Superman in the upcoming Flash movie? Even though all signs point to no, I think there's still a chance, right? Because, again... I'm not going to say all signs point to no that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are not going to be in the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home. But the reports are saying no. And the actors themselves are saying no. But again, this could all be one huge misdirect. Henry Cavill doesn't have any official involvement. But then again, his involvement with DC has been pretty fresh. So, I don't know. Maybe I think there is precedent for it. I don't have a firm answer on that, though. Or a firm opinion, rather. Nerdzone says, let's see. Nerdzone says, Mike, look at the Free Guy posters. They are the best advertisement and best posters that are hilarious. Let's see if I can bring one of those up. Let's go. Free Guy poster. I mean, you guys, Disney knows exactly what they're doing here with this marketing. Can we enlarge this? There we go. Yeah, Disney knows exactly what they're doing with this marketing. The world needs a hero. They got Deadpool. I mean, this is just one of the many posters that are out there for Free Guy. Disney knows exactly what they're doing. And this viral marketing for Free Guy, or for anything Ryan Reynolds affiliated, Deadpool's surrounding everything that they do right now. So they're really jumping on the hype train. Deadpool 3 is happening. It's coming. And I think it's coming sooner than we thought. Maybe not a finished film, but I think Disney is gearing up for some, or Marvel even, gearing up for some official announcements. Because we just had the Deadpool and Korg reaction video to the new Free Guy trailer. So that happened. And now we have all these posters of like Ryan Reynolds in the Deadpool costume as Free Guy, like promoting the Free Guy film. So Deadpool is very much back in the social consciousness. We're only going to get more advertisements with Deadpool, whether it's for Free Guy or something else. Free Guy and Deadpool are both under the Disney banner. 20th Century Fox, or rather 20th Century Studios, I think is what they're called now. Obviously Deadpool with Marvel. So yeah, I mean, they're great posters. They're really clever. And in this case, Disney is killing their, in a good way, they're knocking their advertising game out of the park. Nerdzone says, also Peacemaker will release January 22nd of 2022. I didn't realize that there was a release date on that. Oh, January 22nd. That makes me happy. Only, 5 months to wait? Yeah, about 5 months to wait. So, less than half a year. And I loved Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad. I loved Peacemaker. I don't know if he was my favorite character. I mean, Deadshot was kind of great. Idris Elba as Deadshot was pretty great. But yeah, Polka Dot Man was incredible. I really liked Weasel too. Weasel was a really fun character. My goodness, TDK? Like, what a stupid, silly superpower. What a stupid, silly superpower. Just wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. Redacted83 says, unless the Mario movie is about an Italian plumber who goes to rescue a princess captured by some kind of turtle dinosaur that breathes fire and sometimes can be seen throwing bananas on a go-kart, the film will fail. I understand the tongue-in-cheek of how you say that, but I want to take you literally for a second. Not necessarily. It depends on the story. It all depends on the type of story that they're telling. The same could be said for Sonic. The same could be said for Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Unless Sonic the Hedgehog is on a quest to collect rings to open a portal to fight the evil Dr. Robotnik, who's turned all of his friends in the Green Zone into barnyard animals, this movie will fail. And that's not what the movie was about. The movie was about something completely different. So it depends on the story. It depends on the characterizations. It depends on the portrayals of those characters and their wants and desires. Like, what is the movie about? Emotionally. Not just in terms of plot, but emotionally. What is the movie about? Will it fail? Not necessarily. If the movie is not about Bowser capturing Princess Peach and Mario having to save her. Because, again, think about the day and age in which we live, right? The idea of a man coming to a woman's rescue is an outdated concept. It just is. So what will audience's reaction be if the damsel in distress is reliant upon a man to come and save her? I have a strong feeling. I mean, I could be wrong on this. I have a strong feeling that the story will not be about Bowser kidnapping Princess Peach and Mario and Luigi having to come to the rescue. I have a strong feeling that's not what the movie's going to be, because that theme does not hold up very well in 2022. Whether you agree with my assessment or not, it just doesn't. By and large, whether you want that to be the case or not, I just don't see that being... Yeah, I just don't see that happening. I don't see that being the story. Maybe something close to it. Maybe something tangential to that. You know, maybe it's the kind of thing of like, Peach has gone missing. Sorry, Redacted 83. You're responding to me in text as I will respond to this when the time is appropriate after the show. But yeah, what was my thought? I totally got derailed. Unless the story is that Peach goes missing of her own accord and nobody knows where she is, and now Mario and Luigi set out to like, wait a second, where did Peach go? And maybe Peach is maybe she's planning something on her own. I mean, that I could very much see being a story of the movie. But and you know, Bowser coming into the mix and like, what's Bowser? Maybe it's a total MacGuffin that Mario and Luigi think she's been kidnapped by Bowser. Bowser had nothing to do with it, but Bowser has other motivations. Maybe Princess Peach is starting a corporation that is in direct competition with Bowser's corporation, or you know, whatever it ends up being. And Mario and Luigi are like, oh, we have to, you know, stop this whole thing, and maybe there's a little Mario Kart in there, just for good measure. Who knows? But I don't see that being the theme of this movie, because it seems like an outdated theme, personally. Where did we go? Why does this always happen? Why do we lose our spot? All right. Nerdzone says, it doesn't need to be that to be good. Yeah. Nerdzone, it's an origin story, so we might even see a bit of Donkey Kong. Is it an origin story? Is there anything out there saying that it's an origin story? I mean, it probably will be, but again, that hasn't been confirmed. I don't know. Donkey Kong could make an appearance. It all depends on where they want this to go. Like, everything, all the elements that you put into a story are there to support the story. And let's go to Tom Cruise's The Mummy, for example. In Tom Cruise's The Mummy, they put Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde in there to set up like this whole universe, and it didn't work. It fell so hard, and it failed so spectacularly. If they put in Donkey Kong to set up a cinematic multiverse, I don't know. It might feel a little shoehorned. And again, it all depends on how they do it and what it is that they're building towards. But I don't know. Nerdzone says, like, we could see Mario do different jobs. I mean, maybe. I mean, he's a plumber from Brooklyn. We know that. I mean, we could see 1,000 different things. What we are going to see, what is the most... And here's the thing. We know Nintendo is incredibly protective of their IPs. So, understandably, Shigeru Miyamoto is going to want to keep this close to the chest. He's going to want to play this very, very, very close to the chest. And be very protective of his characters. And not just protective, but he wants to honor his own legacy. And he wants to honor the characters that are so much bigger than he could have ever dreamed or imagined. So there's this idea out there as to what these characters are, who they are, what they do, anything could happen. Anything could be the case. But will it? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I mean, again, we're just going to have to wait and see. Nerdzone says, a spoiler comment. Harley made me laugh. She was obviously there for filler, but that Harley Quinn about to get married scene was so funny. That's not so much of a I don't know. About the Harley Quinn about to get married scene. I guess if you want to get technical, I guess that's a spoiler, but it's really not a spoiler. I like how you phrase that, though. Yes. How do I put that? How do I put this? It caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting it. And it was 1,000% in line with Harley Quinn. 1,000% in line. A couple of retracted messages from Nerdzone. Batman 89 is a digital comic series now, but physical graphic novel will release when all issues are released. Oh, good to know. I'll probably just wait for when they all come out, but I don't know. Maybe I might invest a little bit of coin in the digital sphere. To read, Nerdzone says, "Oh, I've watched Whiplash twice. I love Whiplash, and no joke, Terrence Fletcher is the scariest person in cinema. No joke." It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because context for anyone watching right now. Nerdzone a few weeks ago sent me an email, and we're going to address this on the show closer to Halloween. Once Halloween gets a little bit closer, Nerdzone asked me the question. So if anybody's watching this and you can start kind of like generating some ideas so that you can join our discussion in maybe like a month from now. Nerdzone asked the question, who is the scariest villain in all of cinema? Not just like scary villains like Pennywise or Creature from the Black Lagoon or Dracula, or like villains that you typically think of as being scary, but who are other like more psychological type villains. And you mentioned Terrence Fletcher. He was actually one of those villains that came to mind to me when I was contemplating this this question of yours that you sent a few weeks ago. So interesting that you should have a very similar observation. Nerdzone says, my stepdad bought Flashpoint. Thank you. Previous question up above where you mentioned something about, I'll kind of feel like I need to find it now. But yeah, let's see. My stepdad just bought the Flashpoint first print, and I'm sad because of it. Oh, well, I'm confused. Why are you sad if your stepdad just bought the first print of Flashpoint Paradox? I need a little bit of context there. Thank you. Because isn't that a good thing? Would that not be a good thing to like frame and put on the wall, or just kind of like put in a hermetically sealed container and keep it nice and safe and pristine? I would think that's a good thing, unless he bought it and you're not allowed to see it, so now you're sad. I don't know. The Peacemaker series might be based on the 80s limited run comics or the 60s Charlton version. I'm not familiar with either one of these. Again, admittedly, I'm more of a Marvel fan. I'm more well-versed in the history of Marvel comics as opposed to DC comics. So I'm not familiar with either one of those. I'm sorry. As you clarify, limited run. Nerdzone says, haven't read Dark Knight Returns yet. When Christmas comes, I found Absolute Dark Knight, which is a hardcover that includes Dark Knight Returns and Strikes Again. Yeah, so Dark Knight Returns is a series of 4 books, I guess. Yeah, so there's Dark Knight Returns, Dark Knight Strikes Again, and there's 2 others. I can't remember the name of them. But yeah, it's a series of 4. So from start to finish, it's the Frank Miller series that turned Batman from a campy 1960s Adam West psychedelic Batman silly character into a real dark, gritty, grounded figure that we can point to and say, now that is terrifying. And it was brilliantly done. Brilliantly done. I love the characterization of Joker in that. I wasn't a huge fan of the character design of Joker, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. But the story of Joker, I don't want to spoil anything, so you read it yourself. The mutants were really cool. Again, there was something really, very much that I dug about the mutants. And I'm not talking about X-Men. I'm talking about there's a gang of ruffians in this comic series called the Mutants. They are not mutants. They do not have mutant abilities or powers or anything like that. That's just what they call themselves. And the story of the mutants was really cool. I like that a lot. There's just a lot about that comic series that I really, really dug. Nerdzone says, I like hardbacks over paperbacks. Interesting. What I like about the Absolute Killing Joke was it included the original pages. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did the Absolute Edition also not include, how do I phrase this? Did it not include original illustrations? Which is to say, when oh, I can see his face in my mind. The dude who wrote The Killing Joke. I can't think of his name. Oh, it's killing me. He also did Watchmen. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. Did he not also or did they not include illustrations of his when he was like conceptualizing the characters and like, oh, this is kind of how I want the scene to go, kind of like in notes, essentially, like illustrated notes. I believe that they included that at the back. I love that. Oh, I love that stuff. It's so cool. Nerdzone says, also, I did a Killing Joke book report, and my English teacher didn't give her feedback. Sorry for using that word. I worked for 2 hours on it, and she didn't give any feedback. Oh, that's frustrating, man. That's frustrating. When you put your heart and soul into something, and it's something that you very much care about. You know what it is? It's the scene in A Christmas Story when Ralphie writes this whole dissertation on, oh, I want this carbine stock Red Ryder BB gun with a compass in the stock and, full barrel, double action, blah, 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 like all this stuff. And he's so passionate about it. And you can just, like, having been an 8-year-old myself, and admittedly so, for Christmas, when I was a child, I think I was younger than Ralphie, I also received a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas. But knowing that level of excitement and just, this is the thing that you want more than anything else. And you just don't get any credit or acknowledgement or recognition of your excitement for this thing, It's so disheartening. You know what, Nerdzone? Send me that book report. I would be interested in reading it, and yeah, maybe we might mention it on the show. We might feature it on the show. Send me your book report, and we'll talk about it, because I'm interested to see what you had to say about it. Nerdzone says, wrong poster for Free Guy. I'm on about the posters based on different games. All right. Let's see what we can... Oh, I just closed the window. All right. Different games. Posters for different games. Well, so far, like, the posters that are coming up are all the same poster. What's this? Nope, that's not it. That's all in Spanish, too. That's not what I was looking for. Yeah, my very quick Google search. What's this? No. My Google search is not bringing up anything that is like in the style of a different game in terms of the poster for Free Guy. My apologies. I mean, there's a lot of different permutations from what I'm seeing on Google, but I don't think I'm seeing. Can you send me a couple so I can see specifically what it is that you're talking about? Nerdzone says Idris Elba played Bloodsport, not Deadshot. Did I say Deadshot? Oh yeah, Deadshot was Will Smith. Bloodsport. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Thanks for the correction. Cause the Flash. Let's see. Nerdzone says cause the Flashpoint ain't mine. We don't share. Oh, gotcha. Ha, gotcha. Okay. So your father bought the first printing of the Flashpoint Paradox comic. I assume it's probably like a pristine condition, and your father doesn't share with you. Well, I feel like this is this is the origin of like a heist movie, right? Oh, wait. In some ways, if you're familiar with the movie The Sandlot, this is kind of like, it seems like a very similar situation, right? The father, it's not Dennis Leary, it's, you know what I'm talking about. The father in The Sandlot has this baseball that is like his prized possession. But of course, the kids lose their baseball in like the neighbor's, the evil, angry, crazy guy's yard next door. So they need a baseball to play baseball. So he goes in and gets his dad's like prized possession baseball. Wasn't it signed by Babe Ruth, I think? Yeah, I think it was signed by Babe Ruth. Yeah, so I can see that kind of being like, oh, I need a comic book. My dad has Flashpoint. Oh, I need it for a book report. Ah, yes, that's right. I need Flashpoint Paradox for a book report. So I can kind of see like this whole heist story surrounding you and your father's copy of Flashpoint Paradox. That would be great. That would be great. Nerdzone. Also, can I join in on the scary villain vid, please? If it is possible. Yes. We had conversations about this in the past. Email me and we'll figure out the details for it. All right, we'll figure out the details. OMG, you did not forget Alan Moore's name. I did forget Alan Moore's name. Thank you for reminding me that Alan Moore's name is Alan Moore. He is my favorite comic book writer and the writer I'm most inspired of. Alan Moore has a way with storytelling that he talks about, or rather brings out the human experience, because that's what the vast majority of storytelling does, right? Like, there are stories that inspire, there are stories that teach us moral lessons and stuff like that. Alan Moore brings out the human experience in a way that's visceral, in a way that's eye-catching, in a way that you are emotionally invested in a way that is sometimes graphic. I mean, look at The Killing Joke. That is not just a graphic novel. Like, that is a very graphic novel. The themes that he pulls out, like just, Joker murdering somebody point blank in the stomach and watching them die. And the things that Joker does to Barbara Gordon as she's bleeding out on her father's carpet in the living room is unthinkable. Those are things that you could not do in a live action movie, even today. Maybe in 20 years from now, we might see a live action version of The Killing Joke in all of its gory glory. But you can't do that today. It's too much. And The Killing Joke came out in what? The 80s? The late 80s? Early 90s? You can't do that today. It is too much. But at the same time, that's not like the gory stuff. The evil that is portrayed or referenced, because you don't actually see the acts. You don't see Joker do the evil, gross, despicable things that they reference. But that's not what the story is about. The story is about good versus evil and making choices and coming to terms with your own choices? What is your own moral code? Is your moral code for the greater good, or is your moral code for you? And while both things can be true at the same time, where's the line? What is the line? And how does the line play into what it is that needs to happen? It's so layered. It's so layered. And Alan Moore goes into such incredible detail, yes, in like beautiful illustration format, but also in storytelling. And it's so easy to overlook great storytelling with beautiful art. It's so easy to do that. Or to discard beautiful storytelling from mediocre art. It's easy. So yeah, to see that, I mean, my goodness, yeah. Thank you. And again, it's Alan Moore. Yes, I know Alan Moore's work fairly well. Every now and again, just like, hey, what's Scarlett Johansson's name? I'm having a brain fart. So yeah, same concept, same thing. Nerdzone says the original pages were actually pointless to me. Because I got the first print long before. The original pages were actually pointless to me because I got the first print long before I got the Absolute. And the first print was the only version I had before I got the Absolute version. Got it. I assume we're still talking about Killing Joke. The original pages were actually pointless to me because I got the first print long before I got the Absolute. And the first print was the only version I had before I got the Absolute version. So the Absolute version contains both, right? Yes. It's been a minute since I've broken out that comic. In fact, I have it featured prominently in my living room, in the bookshelf, with a few other select titles. I should break it out and go through it because it's been a minute. But yeah, it's great. It's absolutely wonderful. And I'm so glad that you also have the Absolute version so that you can compare and contrast and see those detailed notes. I think that's almost invaluable. Last comment of the day, Nerdzone. I also did 50 bullet points describing the story in my book report, and I couldn't mention Barbara Gordon getting naked or she would attack me for it not being family friendly. Ooh, there's a lot in that story that is not family friendly, and depending on how old you were when you wrote that, or like what grade you were, there's a lot in that story that is. They're all adult themes. But there's graphic content that is either portrayed or referenced in that. So it's Mike, let's talk about the Killing Joke on your channel with my book report, please. Yes, I would love that. Send it over to me. I'll have a look at it. We'll kind of dissect it. In that regard, probably going to want to have you on the show as well, just to talk about it. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, we'll hash out all the details over the emails. I think that would be great. I would love to do this. I would love to break it down and get in all the nitty-gritties with you. I think that'd be awesome. I think that would be wonderful. And that pretty much ends the show for today as we make arrangements with Nerdzone to figure out how to feature incredible book report and have some really in-depth philosophical discussions about life and choices and what it means to be the good guy, I guess, is essentially what, or the hero. Maybe not the good guy, but the hero. Everyone's the hero of their own story. Even the Joker. Joker's the hero of his own story. You guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation and giving us stuff to talk about. This show's been running for, 2 hours and 20 minutes at this point. So, yeah, it's time to wrap up. I think it's time to wrap up. You guys, if you haven't done so already, if you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Alan Moore and the Killing Joke would want you to do. And let's be honest, Nerd Zone, and Redacted83. I also want you guys to do that. You guys, if you have anything that you want to talk about specifically, send me an email at gottalovethammovies@gmail.com. And as long as it's family friendly, we'll make your comment or question a main topic here on the show. You guys, we live in a weird, crazy world where everybody has their own thoughts and opinions, and sometimes those thoughts and opinions clash. So if you have an opportunity to infuse just a little bit of kindness into the world, speak kind words to each other, I implore you, take those opportunities. As always, in the words of Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other. I will see you guys next Wednesday.